But as always, you guys know our first segment of the week is the coin toss. Take it away. Well, again, we are back. This is the coin toss. And again, we know we all had bad weeks. All three of us suffered losses. And that's what we're going to talk about first here is there are five teams that are currently 0-2 in the NFL. And of course, they are the Raiders, Bengals, Titans, Falcons, and Panthers, with an honorable mention to the Texans and Colts, who are 0-1 because they tied themselves in week one.
That's
But
right.
let's go with you, Delilah. Out of these teams, there's seven. I would go with the 5-0-2 teams because that two losses in an early season is usually, and those teams generally don't make the playoffs according to statistics.
Yeah,
But
it's
of
true.
those five, Raiders, Bengals, Titans, Panthers, Falcons, who do you think might be able to turn it around in this young season?
Bengals and Raiders, I think.
Okay.
Raiders,
Give
I'm
me a
so
reason, baby.
yeah. So I feel like even though even though Derek Carr isn't playing to his full potential right now, I know he can turn that around pretty quickly because he's got the pieces. So even though they definitely like fell apart there, especially Renfro there, but I feel like just the pieces he has with Devontae, like I mean, I said that was gonna take a while, right? I said it here on the show. Sean gave me props, right? I said I don't think it's gonna be the same chemistry between Devontae and Derek Carr, even if they played together in college.
Well,
But
he had what, three catch? He had three attempts thrown to him
yeah, so
yesterday. That was it, right? Two or
I
three?
had a feeling it wasn't gonna click that quickly, but I feel like they will eventually click, right? I think that they are gonna find a way to mesh, and so it's possible they could turn it around. But like the Raiders, for some reason, are just jinxed. Like we've seen it for just I don't know what it is, but we've seen it year after year after year, right? They go far, but maybe this is when they could make a turn because they're starting awful. So maybe they could flip it and like make a good run for it. We saw teams last year that we thought weren't going to make a run, and finally at the last minute they start winning games, right? Because it's a longer season too. So last year we saw miracles happen where teams that we didn't think were going to make playoffs made playoffs, and others that got super close. And also Bengals, like I still feel like even though they start off shaky, it's still Joe Burrow, and I feel like they still have a chance to really make a difference. With the Panthers, Mayfield is being Mayfield. Sam Darnold is injured, so they don't even have him to come in and step in. So I don't even know when he's available again, right? Because that's also one of the reasons we haven't seen him, because I'm sure they would have started him if he wasn't hurt, right? To see if they could win some of these games. And so I just feel like Panthers are just not going to go anywhere because they still don't have any idea what they're doing at quarterback. Like they just can't figure that piece out. And so I just don't see them turning that around. Atlanta might,
No, no.
because
Really?
Atlanta,
Okay.
well, only because we saw them actually come back and actually overtake. They got close to beating the former Super Bowl contenders, right? So,
Mhm.
you know, um, they just need a quarterback too, man. I'm sorry, you guys just, I don't know, like you got to go draft a QB.
Well,
You
they
haven't,
did, but I
they
don't know
did,
how
but
soon he'll play. I
yeah, right,
mean,
but
Desmond Ritter is there,
oh,
but
that's right, Ritter. I
it,
forgot. I'm sorry.
that's okay. No, but Desmond Ritter is there. But how? And Anthony, I'll come to you since this is your team. This is one of the 0-2 teams. Are your beloved Falcons? So, I
Yep.
mean, out of these five teams, though, what do you think? Who can
Um,
rebound? Who can come out of the ashes and rise like the phoenix?
I'm definitely with Delilah on the Raiders because the Raiders, good, batter, indifferent, have been able to somehow or another find themselves in the hunt for the
Hmm.
last several years. I want to say the Bengals because even though Joe Burrow played for LSU, I love the kid's moxie, his spirit, but I don't know. I mean, if they don't do something soon, he's going to wind up being hurt, and he's a big part of the catalyst of that off. He is the catalyst. Let's just go ahead and say it. He is the battery that keeps that offense going right now. And if they lose him at some point, then there pretty much goes their playoff chances. I don't want to sound like a homer, but to use my co-host on my show, but his trademark phrase to piggyback on what Delilah said. Being a Falcons fan, one thing that we have seen them every year, year in, year out, fourth quarter collapses. And just newsflash for those of y'all with the 28-3 jokes. That was not the first time that the Falcons collapsed in the fourth quarter. That's just the first time they did it on the big stage where all of y'all were watching. Just before, it just used to be us watching. So but for them to show some fight and some scrap in the second half of the game and try and fight their way back in, many a time the Falcons had opportunity and all they needed was a win or two to get their foot in the door in the playoffs, that they weren't able to win because they weren't able to close out the second half. And that's something that I haven't seen in a very long time. So yeah, I mean that. So I'm gonna go with Lord have mercy. What did I just say? I'm getting old. The Falcons and the Raiders. Thank you.
No, see that's fine, but personally, I'm not sold on the Raiders, man. I'm just not, and going 0-2, being in that AFC West division just doesn't go well for them, I think. I mean, you still got to play those other teams a couple times, and I just, like you said, I mean, how do you bring Devontae Adams over? The first week he has a killer week, and then you come out and throw 3 times to him. Now, I get it. He's probably double teamed. Like, I didn't see the game, so I can't comment fully. But I got to imagine that he had to have been open more than 3 times in that game. And the way that Arizona came back in that fourth quarter alone, just that, I mean, it does make you wonder what's going on there. I don't know if there's tons of injuries or that sort of thing. I mean, I just think the Raiders don't have what it takes personally to come back.
No, you're probably right.
We will see it as the season goes on. We will see how that goes.
Maybe they're all going to bust.
Well, no, they could. Remember, statistically 0-2 teams have not made the right. Teams who have started 0-2, and these were playoff teams last year. Bengals, Titans, Raiders, these were playoff teams last year. You know what I mean? So it's really, to see them start 0-2 is really, well, see that there's a point, Alex. Speaking from somebody that played offensive line for 10 plus years, it takes over a month of game time for the starting line to usually mess together. Well, I tell you what, some of these offensive lines better get it together, including our own, because I'm telling you, Joe Burrow especially is getting killed out there.
He is being knocked down.
It seems like every play they are in that guy's face. And again, they're 0-2, and you sit there and go, man, I thought Cincinnati would come out and play better to start the year. And again, they have some problems there. There's no lie, and they beefed up the line with free agency and draft. So you're sitting there shaking your head going, well, what's the problem now? Is it scheme? Is it, is it coaching? What is it? But anyways, I do want to move on a little bit because there's another topic that I think is actually worth talking about because, as you know, there are 2 particular, there's 3 or 4 of them in the league, but there's 2 particular Alabama quarterbacks that have come now and are playing lights out. Yeah, I know. Shake your head all you want, Mr. Good. There he goes, Mr. Dog.
They can't spell elephant, so they cheer for laundry detergent. I said,
listen to this guy. Hello. As you can tell, the haterade is very, he's been drinking it all day, Mr. Handy. But yes.
It's January, baby.
Yeah, I know. We know. That's okay. But these guys are in the NFL now, so you ain't got to worry about them. Tua and Jalen Hurts. And then there we go. Producer Sean says, roll tide, of course. There we are. Let's just stir the pot more, shall we? I love it. Who wants to smoke? I always do. But anyways, Tua and Jalen Hurts, huh? How about this? You got 2 guys who have really got their teams playing with a 2-0 to start the season. We know that the Eagles, barely got by the Lions in week 1, but then they come around and destroy Minnesota, who destroyed Green Bay in week 1. So for one, I'm not quite sure what to make of the Eagles. Obviously, the offense is moving. The defense played much better yesterday. But Tua, I mean, between Tua and Jalen Hurts, obviously Tua with the Dolphins, the comeback against Baltimore yesterday or Sunday was incredible. Like I did not going to lie, I did not see that coming. And for that, for that big of a win for that program, what do you guys think? I mean, Tua, Jalen Hurts, who do we think carries the team further this year? What do you expect from these 2 guys? Handy, we'll start with you.
I'm gonna go with Tua, and the reason that I say that is that I mean the kid is that this doesn't have anything to do with anything statistical or anything like that. It's just he's a kid that we have seen the first time I saw at the expense of my own team winning the national championship, that will grab the moment when he's in the spotlight no matter what the circumstances are. Nobody knew who the kid was. He came in, he did what he had to do. They won a national championship. He comes into the league, he gets hurt. They say he's got a weak arm. They say he's brittle boned, and he's still in there digging and scrapping. And the Ravens, as dominant as the Ravens looked the week before, for him to come in and dismantle the Ravens the way that he did, I'm going with Tua. Plus that with Jalen Hurts, Jalen is good as long as the momentum is going. If you slow his momentum down and get inside, he gets inside his head. That's just my yeah. I saw that happen with him in college, and I've seen it happen. I saw it happen to him at Alabama. Saw it happen to him in Oklahoma, and we saw a little bit of it last year. And so I'm definitely going with Tua.
All right, Delilah, what say you?
Yeah, I actually do agree with Anthony, because basically last year, I feel like we're basing it off of what happened last year, and last year there was always still like they decided they were going to go with him, but they're still coming off of how they were switching between quarterbacks, right? They were, he was still trying to figure out how he was going to play with Miami, and all he was missing was pieces. Right. We were, by the way, a lot of us were questioning. We saw the memes about Tyreek Hill going to Miami, but who's laughing now? Right. So obviously Tyreek Hill saw something before we did and realized that if you give Tua a winning team, right, if you give him weapons, because he still has Waddle. We know that kid was lights out last year, his rookie season. Right. And now he's got Tyreek Hill, Mr. Cheetah over there. And we saw he could pass, right? I started joking. Oh, he can't pass. He had over 400 yards on Sunday.
No, he was throwing the ball. He was slinging the ball. That's for sure.
So, I know that people could say, and it's true, we did see that the fourth quarter, the Ravens defense disappeared. But still, 6 touchdowns. That was almost like an Al Bundy type thing. Remember, Al Bundy? That's always a joke.
4 touchdowns
at Polk High. That's right.
So it was kind of like that type of day, right? You're like, what just happened? We all thought, by the way, Ravens had it because it wasn't like Lamar messed up. He did it. He balled out too, and so he did his thing, but this kid went out there and said, nope, I guess I'm going to try it. I can't hate on that. I can't hate on that at all. So I think I'm curious about next week, because now that's the real challenge, because they're going to play the Bills. And so now I know the first 2 teams, the Ravens are a good team and they came back and beat them. The first week, people would consider that a mediocre team, but they still won. It doesn't matter. Right. So they're 2-0. Now they're going to get a real challenge, in my opinion, playing against what people consider Super Bowl contenders, right? So, he's going to play against MVP, or at least in the line for MVP, right? Josh Allen. And so, I think that's where we're going to see their mettle. If the Dolphins beat the Bills, I think we need to be quiet.
Okay, well,
I think a lot of people will be quiet. Everybody will be looking at the TVs like, what did we just see?
Yeah, right now that stands to be a big if, but I get what you're saying. I think we'd all be a little surprised if the Dolphins somehow, beat up on Buffalo next week. But I think that's some good stuff for now. We got, the coin toss is always a popular segment with our show, and we appreciate the opinions of our guests and our panel here.
Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.